Wondering when you need to do your tax return by? Well, watch on. As a business accountant, my team and I spend all day long helping business owners on their journey. And one of the key questions we get asked across all the social media channels, and of course when people are looking to become clients, is when do I need to do my first tax return? So that's what I wanted to cover in this short video. Now, before I do, if you like these type of videos, make sure to click the subscribe button and the bell to get notified whenever we release more just like this. So then, you're new to business, and always in these videos, we're talking really from a small business owner's point of view. The principles apply to normal personal tax returns and things like that, but really I'm thinking you've just started a business, you're self-employed, those kind of people is what we're really dealing with. But as I say, principles are the same. So quick recap. What you would have is your tax year. The tax year in the UK runs oddly from the 6th of April one year to the 5th of April the next year. It's all the way around. So it's a 12-month period, 6th of April to the 5th of April the following year. And generally the tax returns cover that period. And what they say is at the end of the tax year, so on the 5th of April, we're going to draw the line. We'll have your tax return, please. And we'd like that by the 31st of January the following year. So you get quite a bit of time to actually do it. The thing about that date though is not only is it the normal filing deadline, and there is other reasons why you might get a different filing deadline, but for the majority of people that's going to be when it is also the date that you're normally due to pay your tax bill associated with that year. So the reason I would never leave it to the last minute is because not only do you have to scramble around to get everything in place and get it submitted, you might even figure out you need help doing it, and it's a bad time to go asking for that during January because everybody's doing the same. But the other reason is you've had no time to plan for the tax bill. So if you've not kept anything to one side, or you might be surprised, we had it a lot during COVID grants, people didn't realise they had to pay tax on the COVID money they got and all this kind of stuff. Don't leave it to the last minute, because then at least you know what your tax bill is and you can plan. So knowing the kind of the tax year and when those tax returns are due, there's a couple of other things to talk about. Firstly, there's other videos on this that we've done and other content, but when you are self-employed, you should register as ASAP really. They used to put a time limit on it, but now it's as soon as possible. So go check out those videos and we talk about how you could register. But presuming you've registered, then they're gonna send you what they call a UTR, a unique tax reference. And normally with that once you've done that and you've got that, you know that you're in the system and it's very likely you've got a tax return. So this time of year, we get approached a lot by people and they're like, I think I've got to do a tax return. And then you figure out actually they've not registered. And oddly, that might give them a little bit longer to do it, depends what the situation is. But the main thing is if you have got that number, you're registered, it's very likely that you're going to need a tax return. But the question is when? Is it the one, so as we're recording this in January 23, a lot of people are panicking about, oh, should I be doing something? And that's the scenario I want to talk about now. So let's presume you started your business in October 22. So 1st of October 2022, you've started your business. People are now thinking, oh, have I got to do anything for Jan? And the answer is no, because what you've done is you've started, if I had that line again, 6th of April to the 5th of April, what we're talking about for now is if you started your business after the 6th of April 21, but before the 5th of April 22 is that period that we're talking about right now. So if you've got a tax return to do, it will be because you had it in that period. So it's your 2022 tax return, and that's due for submission on the 31st of January 2023, where we are now. So using the example of that business that was started in October 22, you're actually in the next tax year. It's the tax year you've started on the 6th of April 22 and ends on the 5th of April 23. And that one won't actually be due in at the last minute, if you're going to do it, till the 31st of January 24. So if you start in the middle of 2022, that's what you're looking at. Your filing deadline is actually going to be the 31st of January 24. So you've got quite a bit of time to sort this out. But there are some nuances, as I say. Are you registered? When did you register? And all those kind of things. But generally, that's how it's going to work. And you might be thinking, well, that's odd because it's not a full year. And that's true. So what happens is you basically have a short year in the first year. So taking that October 2022 example, your whole tax year's here. So any income you've had in that year. So let's say you were employed for most of it, but you had a side hustle, small business. So you would put on that tax return your whole income that you had during your employment for that period. And then you just have this 6-month kind of short period from October to the 5th of April where you were self-employed and you just put that part year's earnings on. Might even be a loss, that can happen as well. And you report it all in this one tax return. So that's fine. And then the next year, of course, you've got the full year for everything. It makes it a little bit easier. So that first year is often a part year and that's completely normal. And then finally, before you go, the other thing to remember with self-employment is the availability of the trading allowance. There's a whole other video on this, but there's effectively like £1,000 allowance. It means you might not even need to do a tax return, or it might be worth claiming it, all these other things. Whole other video, blog, podcast, go check those out. If you know anybody that needs to know this info, please do let them know. and I'll see you in the next one.